Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. This time out, an ultra-versatile modular amplifier system that's all tube. Let's get started. If you're of a certain age, you probably remember that Randall and Egnater both made modular amplifier systems. There were individual modules that recreated the preamp sections of different amplifiers. You plug those into a chassis, and you got the tone of that amplifier through your speakers or direct into a recording system. Now a company called Synergy has brought that concept back and taken it to an entirely new level. Bruce Egnater came up with the concept for the amplifier system back in the day, and he licensed it to Randall, who made their own version of it. Now, when his licensing agreements ran out, Synergy came to be as a company that was intended to create a no-compromise version of that modular concept. There are some big differences with the Synergy modules and the Synergy system versus those old Randall and Egnater modules. However, everything is backward and forward compatible. So if you have older Randall modules, if you have Egnater modules, they'll work with the Synergy products, and likewise, Synergy products will work with older Randall and Egnater products as well. So we have back and forth compatibility, which is really cool. If you're not familiar with the modular amplifier concept, the way that it works is you have a chassis. Now that chassis may be a tabletop module like the Syn 1 we have here, it might be rack mount like the Syn 2 we have here, or you might have an amp head or a combo amplifier like we see behind us. These are all tube modules and all tube chassis. So when you plug in, you're really playing through an entirely all-tube amplifier system. There's no modeling here. Everything is an authentic tube amplifier. What's cool about the system is that you can create a module that duplicates the sound of another amplifier, simply plug it into a chassis or a head, and you effectively have that amplifier to play through. So for example, Synergy makes a JCM 800 module. They make a Fender Deluxe module. They make a Fender Bassman module. And the modules are tube-based, and they give you two channels that give you all of the flavor of those amplifiers. Then you plug it into your chassis, which again has either a tube output or a tube power amp like the heads, and you have an authentic amplifier that you're playing through, as I said earlier. But Synergy has opened it up to other manufacturers as well. So for example, we currently have modules available that were created by David Friedman, Soldano, Morgan, Diezel, Metropolis, and we've got more modules on the way as well from 65 amps, from Bogner, from Fryette, and other manufacturers. Tone King is going to be coming on board with a module. So we have a lot of versatile modules there. You plug it into a chassis, and you've got an entirely new amp. It's super versatile, super flexible. All the modules are the same price, so you don't pay a premium for one over another. You simply, again, choose your modules, plug them into a chassis, a head, or a combo, and you're ready to go. There are some other differences with the new modules versus the old modules. As I mentioned, the new modules are all two-channel. The original modules were all single-channel. So right away, you double the possibilities that are available. For example, you might have the clean channel from a Dirty Shirley and the dirty channel from a Dirty Shirley. When you go to the Bassman, you've got a clean tone and you've got an overdriven channel as well. So lots of versatility there in addition to just the sounds of the modules. But the new modules have some other differences. A big one is that the original modules were all cathode biased. Now, this meant that when you plugged in a Fender amplifier, you got the same biasing as you did with a Marshall amplifier or an AC30. With the new modules, there's a three-way biasing system built in that changes automatically when you plug a module in. So when you plug in a Fender amplifier, you get Fender-style biasing. When you plug in a Marshall, you get Marshall-style biasing. And there's also a boutique style as well. And that makes it much more authentic in the way that it interacts with the power tubes and really creates a more authentic experience both from a playing feel and from a tone standpoint. I mentioned that you can get modules from Friedman, Soldano, Diezel, and so on. The cool thing here is that those modules are actually designed by the manufacturer themselves, created by that manufacturer, so you're really getting the real thing. You're not getting a model that was done by somebody else and then was basically plugged in. You're getting the authentic thing from the original manufacturer. And as a benefit to the manufacturer, they're actually getting royalties on these modules when you purchase those. With models, they typically don't. So they're participating in the success of this system. One more thing to talk about with the new modules and the new chassis and amplifiers as well is that these all use Synergy capacitors. Now the Synergy capacitors were developed for use in boutique amplifiers. You're seeing those in a lot of the high-end amplifiers that are on the market now. They're American-made capacitors. And in fact, all these products are American-made. And those same capacitors are used in all these amplifiers, and that really enhances the tone as well. Let's take a quick tour of the Synergy product family, and then we'll hear some examples of the tones from these modules. To start, we have the Syn 1, which is this tabletop module here in front of me. The Syn 1 accepts a single module, and again, that has two channels. You can change the channel from the front panel, or a 2-button foot switch is included. Now there's some very cool features built into the Syn 1. For one thing, it's set up so you can just plug in, run this into the front of your amplifier, and get great tone. It also has a cabinet simulated output, so you could run it direct into your recording system or straight to your PA when you're using it live. But the way that you can really use this with an amplifier to expand the tones that you have on stage is to plug it into the effects loop of your amp. It has an effects loop send and an effects loop return that plug into your amplifier's effects loop. And when you do that, you gain an additional 2 channels from this. So you have the channels that are built into your amplifier in addition to the 2 channels that are coming from the module in the SYN 1. But you don't lose your effects loop because there's an additional effects loop built into the SYN 1. So it really expands your system. It's a cool way of working. One other thing to mention about the SYN 1 is this Sag Control in the front panel. Now, this is a feature that's licensed from Friedman, and it changes the response of the amplifier so you get that real tube-like sag. It creates a very authentic feeling amplifier when you're playing through the SYN 1. Next up we have the SYN 2, which is its rack mount chassis here. Now, this is a dual bay chassis, which means we can install 2 modules. Again, each of those has 2 channels, so we have 4 sounds available inside this chassis. Like the SYN 1, you can use it in the effects loop of your amplifier, so in addition to your amplifier's original tones, you get these additional 4 sounds out of the SYN 2, and it really expands your palette. A 4-button foot switch comes with this for selecting channels, or you can also use a MIDI foot switch, and there are several optional ones available from Synergy that allow you to control this along with any MIDI-capable effects. The SYN 2 has a mono-out stereo return effects loop built in, so you can use your stereo effects and have this be the front end for a stereo system, whether you're recording, again, using the integrated cabinet simulator, or going direct out to a power amp and speakers, or into your existing amplifiers. Like the SYN 1, the SYN 2 also has the Sag Control, so you can affect the response of the amplifier. A great companion for the SYN 2 is this 2x50 power amplifier, which was designed by Friedman. We have 2 50-watt channels here with 6L6 power, and on the front panel we've got presence, depth controls, and volume for each channel. So if you're going to create a stereo system, this is a super easy way to do that with all-tube power in a single rack space. Synergy is also offering all-tube heads, combos, as well as speaker cabinets. There's a 30-watt head, which has a built-in Fender-style clean channel and a single module bay, so you can have 3 channels available inside that amplifier. There's a 50-watt head with 2 module bays, and that allows you to have 4 channels available at any given time. We have a 30-watt combo, which is basically the same thing as the 30-watt head. It has the Fender-style clean channel and a single module bay, as well as a 1x12 speaker design. There are also matching 4x12 and 2x12 cabinets, and either of those cabinets can be run in stereo or mono, so they make a great combination along with the 2x50 power amp and the SYN 2. And once again, I want to make it clear that all of these amplifiers are all tube. There's no modeling, there's no emulation going on here. When you play through this system, you're playing through a real amplifier. We've got presence controls. On the 50-watt head, there's a density control, master volume controls, of course, but these really are all tube amplifiers that you simply plug into and play. But the heart of the whole system are the modules that you plug into the chassis, the head, or the combo. There are 11 currently available. From Synergy, we have the T-Deluxe, which is a deluxe-style amplifier, the B-Man, a basement-style amplifier, an 800, which is a JCM 800-style amplifier, and a Plexi-style module. Metropolis is making a Plexi-style module. Morgan has an AC40-style module. Diezel has the VH4. Soldano has the SLO. And finally, Friedman is making an HBE, a BE, and a Dirty Shirley module. So with a total of 11 modules available, we have an incredible array of tones that you can choose among. Now that we've had a quick tour of the Synergy family, let's hear what some of these modules sound like. I'm joined today by Don Carr and Nick Bocott. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. And we're going to be playing through a variety of modules that are plugged into the SYN 2. We're running out in stereo into the 2x50 power amplifier and into the 4x12 cabinet in stereo. We're mic'd up and going straight into Pro Tools with no processing applied at all. So we'll try some different modules, and we also have some effects hooked up in stereo as well. So we're going out into a flashback from TC and then into their Hall of Fame reverb, and so we're adding a little bit of stereo ambience into our system here. It's a beautiful sounding rig. Let's hear it. To begin, we have the B-Man module from Synergy plugged into the first module bay in the SYN 2. Again, we're running through the delay and the reverb. Don's got his Strat, and we'll be playing through both the clean channel and the dirty channel. There's a 3-position bright switch as well as a 3-position thick switch that we can adjust for each of those channels. Each channel has its own volume, gain, bass, middle, and treble control as well. Now let's switch to the dirty channel. The second module bay on the SYN 2 is loaded with the Dirty Shirley module from Friedman. It's a very different sounding amplifier, much more Marshall style, and it has a lower gain channel as well as a higher gain channel. Let's switch to the lower gain channel and hear what that sounds like. And the higher gain channel? To contrast with the Strat that Don's playing, let's hear what the Jackson that Nick's got in his hand sounds like. Now this is loaded with the JB style pickup in the bridge. Okay, right, that's awesome. Right. Now that you both have played through this, let's get your impressions. Don, what did you think?
Man, I love the articulation. I love the feel. I mean, it's just a great sounding amp. And it's a great sounding, at this point, it's 4 great sounding amps.
Right, right, pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Nick?
I gotta say, I'm not a clean player at all, which is hence the reason I didn't play through the B-Man, but I was impressed with the B-Man because of the articulation and the harmonic content. It sounded like a real amp, because as you've said, that's what it is. Right. And as for the Dirty Shirley, all I can say is this. Not only is it all tube and affordable, but Dave Friedman made the damn thing. So it's the real deal. It's not someone else's facsimile thereof. The man behind the Dirty Shirley made this, so it's real.
Right, right. And it's really impressive to me how the amplifier just totally changes when you go from the Fender style to the Marshall style. I don't know of another way to get that aside from using a modeling system where you go from something that dramatically different, you know, a California style amp to a British style amp.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think a lot of it's got to do with the biasing feature you mentioned, the fact that it will switch according to the module. That's pretty cool, because that's vital to the feel of the amp and also the sound, as you said.
And Don, what did you think? Did the feel actually change when you went from one to the other?
Oh, absolutely. And again, back to the tone thing, even the feel and the tone changing, it's still through the same power amp and still through the same speakers, same microphone. Everything else is the same.
Right.
You know, you still get that dramatic difference.
Right. I mean, Don, you spent so many years on the road. Is this a system that would work well for a touring player?
Oh my gosh, it'd be amazing because it's totally controllable. You'll play it at any volume you want. And again, you're getting those really dramatic sound changes.
Right. We had this actually turned down to where it was just whisper quiet. Still sounded great, and we cranked it up, and of course it sounds even better at that point. So this is ideal for a bedroom player, or someone who's playing in a small club or a worship situation where you have to have that volume under control, because it maintains all the tone and the feel no matter what volume you're playing at. Really is a cool combination, and all the rest of the system also works in the same way. So no matter what kind of situation you're in, studio, live, touring, worship, club, rehearsal, at home, these amps are just ideal for that.
It really is. I mean, it's completely modular on every level.
Right, right.
And I think the cool thing as well to hammer home how quiet we're playing, check this out. I can talk after that. I'm not having to go, well, no, that sounded really good.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're basically at conversational levels coming out of the 4x12 now.
No, even in small clubs, no one's going to complain from the soundboard about, hey, you're too loud, mister.
Right.
Because you're not.
Right.
It's perfect.
Let's plug in some different modules. Let's hear what some of the other flavors are.
Yeah.
Yeah, heavier stuff. Cool.
Heavier stuff. So we've reloaded the Syn 2 with 2 new modules. In the first bay, we have the Soldano SLO, and in the second, we have the Morgan AC40. Let's hear what these sound like with the Stratocaster. We'll begin with the cleaner channel of the SLO, which is more of a crunchy rhythm style channel. Don? Now we'll switch to the higher gain channel on the Soldano. That's a huge tone.
It sure is, man. It really sings.
For something completely different, we've got the AC40 in Bay 2, and we'll listen to the lower gain channel of that first. That's a completely different character from the amplifier.
I know, isn't that amazing?
It just changes totally.
Yeah.
Let's hear the higher gain channel from the AC. Now we've got Nick's Jackson guitar plugged into the dirty channel on the AC. Let's hear that. I can't help but smile listening to that. I mean, it sounds great.
It does, and it's crazy how different the response is between the two guitars.
Right, you can really hear the guitar's character come through, and that's a sign to me of a good amplifier. Also, all the dynamics in your picking and the attack are really there as well.
It feels great. And the other thing we should point out is, if you look at the tone controls on both modules, they're pretty much at 12 o'clock.
12
So we're
o'clock.
not even coming close to pushing anything.
Right.
We're playing it safe, 12
Right.
o'clock.
Let's hear the Jackson through the dirty channel on the Soldano.
Let's go to the, yes, oh, sorry, wrong button,
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
it?
That sounds incredible.
It's fun to play, man. It's fun to play. It really is. That wasn't work at all. That was a pleasure. And once again, the tone controls, check them out. 12 o'clock.
Yeah. Let's listen to one more module. Here's some heavy tones from the VH4 from Diezel with Nick playing the Jackson. Guys, thanks so much for checking out the Synergy system with me. Your playing was great as always, and I'm so impressed with this whole system. It's super versatile, works in just about any situation you might put it in.
Yeah, it sure does, and it just sounds and feels great. It really does. Just no other way to put it.
Right, absolutely true.
Yeah, no, thank you for having us, and thanks for the compliment. The check's in the mail, Mitch.
Right on.
And we'll fix it in the mix.
I'll
Yeah.
watch for that. And thank you for joining me for Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. Be sure to check out this Synergy system. I think you're going to be very impressed. And tune in next time. We'll have more guitars, more amps, more effects. We'll be making lots of music. I'm Mitch Gallagher.